The smoke clears the air. I'm the only one standing. The darkness lurks. There lies the freedom in front of me. So I will start on this day. The rise of kingdoms to come, and we will no longer be named by the weather above. So rain down all you want, but our power is in the sun. And when our planets do align, our nation will become victorious.
Let it be, all that weakness, rest in peace. I learned about the recipe when I was younger, recklessly. Now I'm chasing the glory, gonna be fine. Working so hard, matter of time. Never give up, how we define. Taking my chances, breaking a climb. I'ma show them how it's done. On the top level we run. For Osiris, for my son. We show up and pack a punch. This is war, we step up, we gon' never fold. This is legacy, they gon' know me when I go.
So rain down all you want, but our power is in the sun. And when our planets do align, our nation will become victorious. Swords where you stand and spit upon the ground. But when those horns sound off, pray to the Lord, you've been righteous now. I say rain down all you want, but our power is in the sun. And when our planets do align, our nation will become victorious.
This is war, we don't stop, what's in store, where we start, we deploy. They don't wanna see us win, so we gon' show them all the voice. To the top, we enjoy, when my partners don't avoid. Want the glory, silence noise, here for life, made a choice.
What is going on, governors? Chiscool here with the esteemed Dragothian. Today we'll be casting an exciting matchup. We're playing TR versus 84OF, and this should be fun to watch. Drago, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. It's a beautiful morning here on the weekend. I'm really enjoying it. Glad to be with you, Chisco, on what is the first match of the Osiris League Playoff Season 6. And gotta tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing these two teams go up against each other. Some undefeated action on the side of 84OF, going up against a relative powerhouse, and TR doing very well for themselves in the Grand Prix Finals, which we got to witness not too long ago. So we're looking forward to casting this with you, and welcome everyone to the stream from the community. Really looking forward to engaging with you guys as we continue to cast Osiris League action.
Yes, this is the first cast on the official channel for Season 6 of the Osiris League, but we'll be casting on this channel every single week through the finals, so there's going to be a lot of excitement. If you haven't already subscribed, consider smashing that subscribe button now and throwing a like onto every live stream you drop into. In addition, there's going to be matches cast at 15 UTC. So if you're wondering, what about the other matches later today? Don't you worry, those are going to happen. And this is just the beginning. We're in the round of 16, Drago, and there's a bunch of teams that are really exciting to watch today. However, let's key into the two teams that we'll be looking at today, 84OF and TR. Now, I'll tell you about TR in just a minute because, this is my home kingdom. But is there anything that you know about 84OF? I see they're from 1484, but personally, I don't have a lot of experience with this kingdom.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like looking at their qualifier matches and then ultimately the lead up to the playoffs that we've seen, they've been pretty dominant. They're 8-0. They've beaten some teams that are recognizable from a name standpoint. And speaking of names, I do like the name of their team. You do have the one band, one sound action going on kind of situation, which I do love, entertaining. But there's some good, like you said earlier, there's some good matches at 13 UTC. It was kind of hard to choose which one to go after. A lot of recognizable names in here. We have Navi, we have JST, we have 74 NV against Blackjack. I think that's going to be a great match as well. Some really, really solid matchups at the 13 UTC hour. And then at 15 UTC, we have some very familiar names. Song, OV, VC56, 1V, prior champions, Grand Prix champion. I mean, just all kinds of accolades across the board. And that's just the realm of Horus. Like, we've also got the other three realms that have some really solid action coming our way. But I'm looking forward to 84OF and seeing what they can do against, again, a team that is relatively known-ish in TR, especially when it comes to their tactics or maybe their sneaky tactics. I don't know. I don't see any of that stuff, but we do have
a great throwback there to a previous season. I don't even know if it was last season. It might have been the season before, actually, where TR used sneaky tactics against Song.
That's
it
right.
was a total fake out. They were able to grab the Ark, and it was a cool play, although it is a costly maneuver using sneaky tactics and
very costly.
Hasty march speed ability there. 7 points to get that done. There are cool things you can do with certain abilities that are less chosen. But TR, maybe the name of the alliance changes around so much it might be hard to keep up, now named Tinder Ready. But they are on the 254 roster. This is the strongest Ark team in 1254. This is the kingdom that I'm from. So Drago, if at any point during the casting here it feels like I'm a little biased toward the folks that I know in 254.
Don't worry, I'll call you out.
Your role is to offset, okay?
Yeah.
One team, one fight. That is the team from 84OF, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them play. Speaking of which, we're just a few seconds away from kind of jumping into the match here. Drago, is there anything you think we should look out for in this particular matchup?
Well, again, I haven't seen these two fight each other, and again, 84OF is a relatively unknown from my standpoint. Certainly they've made it to the final 16 in realm of Horus, which, I mean, that's no small feat. So
that's right.
Coming into the round of 16, the season 6 of Osiris League playoffs, you're going to be a known just simply because you're here. That being said, I'm looking forward to seeing some tactics from both sides. TR, are they going to deploy anything a little bit more off script, or are they going to be the standardized strategies that we've seen throughout the Grand Prix and the Osiris League playoff systems work out? And again, 84OF, are they going to do something special that we haven't seen before? I'm really interested to see, because again, at the end of the day, both of these powers are relatively the same. TR certainly higher than the power that's listed on the actual script, just simply because it generated whenever they were in KBK. But that being said, I mean, this is going to be a solid match to watch for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of which, let's jump into the match here. The thing that you'll want to notice is that although the power is listed as lower for TR, Drago keyed into the fact that we did get troops back from KVK in 254. So the power that we've actually got in 254 is probably a bit higher than what's represented. So 3.4 billion power almost for TR, 3.9 billion power for 84OF. Key combatants now on the screen. You've got occupation score, kill score, Osiris score, and provision score on the screen. Drago, if there was some other stat that we could see at the start of a matchup, what would you want to see?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. That's actually a tricky one. I don't know what I would say offhand.
I do have one. And it's a really good one, I think. Times reinforced. So one of the key things in this matchup, this type of match, is keeping these structures ticking points for your own side. And one of the key components to doing that is making sure that not only do you have enough people reinforcing, but that those people are reinforcing with multiple marches and exchanging out low marches for high marches. That would be kind of cool to see, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to see. Yeah, I think that would be really cool to see.
What about you?
Well, I wonder if it would be like average number of arcs scored per game and like average occupation score for the team.
Sure.
Right? Like if I were looking at two teams side by side, like the three things you'd want to compare is like on average, what's this team's arc score, their building score, and their provision score. And then you could get a sense of like, okay, what do they go for as their strategy? Because there really are two, broadly speaking, very viable strategies, I think. One is you play for arcs, and the other is you play for buildings. Of course, we've talked about this ad nauseum, Drago, across the years that we've been casting Ark of Osiris. These days, do you personally lean more toward buildings or arcs?
I think it's leaning more towards buildings because an arc can go, it's like any given Sunday, right? Like an arc can go either way depending on how the skills are deployed, how quickly you organize. As we start this match, speaking of organizing, I guarantee you, we're going to see quite a bit of organizing around these desert altars on the top and bottom lane for both teams. OF already coming out, 84 OF. I see some early provisioning marches as well. And again, we talked about that a little bit too, about how provisioning has kind of taken a back seat from a points generated standpoint, and maybe it not being so important as early on in the game as, say, later in the game after we've gotten the structures kind of ironed out and some of these arcs are starting to go for one team or the other. We've got all kinds of things happening right now on the other side. On the TR side, I do see quite a bit of marches coming out. No siege on that side. So
I think I caught some. They're hiding, Drago. They're hiding right over here. Moonbiter's got them hanging out with Double D. They're the siege. They're sneaky siege. They don't have sneaky tactics. They just have sneaky siege.
Sometimes you don't need a skill. You just do it by yourself.
There's hard push for 84 OF. Looking for the mirror from TR here to see if they also use that ability. There it is. TR activating hard push. This is important for the capture time on your structures and the march speed of your rallies. You can see here when they tap this obelisk, which is happening momentarily. There Bunny goes. 2-minute capture time, accelerated by 1 minute by virtue of activating hard push. Very important here. There's Bunny chilling with his fast-moving T1 cavalry. Who knew? Tier 1 units would have a premium usage. Their march speed, for those of you that don't know, is faster than the more heavily armored T5. Although if you try to bring T4 to these fights, let me tell you, you are going to be pretty outclassed.
Yeah, curious what... I'm not sure if maybe that's the right play right there from Bunny. I think that you could really cause some havoc if he would have kept going down the line and maybe going through some of these caravans to quick march through. That obelisk right now is empty. Maybe if he could have gotten there before the rally arriving, which still has about 20 seconds until it arrives, maybe he could have tapped it and reset the timer, which could have caused some havoc. Maybe a little bit of extra level play there that maybe could have happened. But otherwise, I think this is going exactly on script for TR. You see a lot of marches heading down on the top lane, going towards the desert altar, really focusing on getting those first occupation score points, which is absolutely a great way to start your match off when you're talking about getting those extra points early, taking them from your opponent, and that ultimately will lead to an easier victory if everything goes as planned.
Yeah, I do think I think it's not uncommon to see teams run their T1s forward as kind of like a sanity check. Mm-hmm. Like, you probably won't get the enemy's obelisk.
You never know.
But the one time you do, it's worth it that you did it every single time you tried, right? 2 garrisons on the way up here, 2 different garrisons. I mean, they're both Cav, right? We've got Jadwiga and Jan cruising on up to the Sky Altar here. So going to be eager to see which of them is going to captain. Do you personally have a preference these days, Drago, between the two for Ark?
Well, for Ark, I think Jadwiga YSS to me is the way to go, and there's a couple reasons for that. One, obviously, with Jadwiga, this is going to be a cavalry primary garrison, But then when you're using YSS, not only are you getting AoE damage for ultimately guaranteed swarming action, but also it allows you to put any type of troop in the structure, and that's really key. Because again, this is a big map, and you're going to be marching for quite some time. It's a little mini desert conquest map, if you want to think about it that way. There's a lot of marching involved in this game mode, so being able to use cavalry, which is the fastest units in the game, being able to reinforce more quickly, refresh your garrisons more quickly, that's ultimately going to give you the best chance to keep these structures on your color and keep the points ticking in your favor.
Yeah, I agree that the Jadwiga YSS is really good. Now, you've been battling in KVK for the last, what is it, like 5 days. Have you seen Jan be really impactful in a KVK context?
Not really. I mean, if I'm being honest.
Hey, I appreciate your honesty, man.
He's done well, but I don't think he's necessarily been head and shoulders above, say, just a standard Jadwiga YSS garrison, or certainly as Zenobia Flavius or Zenobia YSS, or those are going to be your two main things that you're running into, is those Jadwiga garrisons and those Xeno garrisons. So Jan hasn't really, to me, stood out and brought anything special. So if you have Jadwiga, I would say maybe either hold off on Jan or use Jan in a different circumstance, like do Jadwiga YSS and then use Jan with Nevsky in a garrison, so you can have two top tier garrisons. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
10 seconds left though.
Love to see it. Yeah, 10 seconds here. We're playing a little bit of Where's Waldo. We see a Jadwiga garrison with YSS just got sad-faced. Also, there was a Jan garrison running around earlier, but I can't seem to find him anymore, so maybe he got lost in the fray, or maybe he got sad-faced. Bunnies, Jadwiga chilling on the side. Structure flips red. Down south, altar flips blue. So we've got mirrored play here, but extra Shrine of War in favor for the team of blue. In fact, a couple folks left scratching their heads here. Bung is trying to take this particular garrison back, but he's going to have some work ahead of him here. They got a lot of troops into that thing. So Shrine of War advantage and Shrine of Life advantage in favor of 84OF, although third altar flips over to TR. So this is kind of a rocky start here, I think, if you're perhaps on the side of TR, and some good aggression on the part of 84OF. Although, now I think the place we really need to look is the 84OF home altar, because if they don't get this back, this is actually big first capture points here in 1 minute. We're looking at 750 capture points. I don't think there's any way they're getting this back. Do you? Are they getting this?
Not before they get the capture points. You got a minute left until this thing ticks over to TR. And again, I think this is ultimately in favor of TR, not so much the fact that they've lost two structures on their own side with both of those shrines, but Desert Altar having a Jadwiga, like we talked about earlier, already in the garrison. This isn't going to get swarmed down relatively easily. And I will say the Shrine of Life on the bottom lane looks pretty secure for 84OF, but TR will be able to relatively get that back quickly. It's only a million structure, easily swarmable. The Shrine of War on the top side that is still blue as well, that has that Jan in it, will eventually go down, I think, to Bunny's Nevsky, likely Joan. There it is, Nevsky Joan. Eventually will go back red. So we are going to be seeing middle fights here shortly as well, Chisco. 5.5 minutes until this arc spawns. I'd imagine once these structures kind of play out, first occupation scores start to go across. Ooh, Shrine of War on the bottom lane goes red as well right before people start going to the middle. This could be very, very, very strong for TR as far as a first push. Get those points, go to the middle, see if they can get this first arc as well.
It does feel like both teams are going really heavy focus on the buildings right now, keying into the fact that the first arc is worth the least amount of points as far as arcs go. So it escalates by 500 points per capture. So I like the pressure here on the part of 84OF on the Sky Altar. I mean, it's pretty low red here, taking 16,000 normal and counterattack damage here to the 7,000 it's dishing back out. This garrison could be in some trouble. They're going to have to do some swaps and hold on to this thing, although broadly speaking, there is some TR structure dominance across the inside lanes here leading up to this arc.
There are, and speaking of right before we go to this arc, that Desert Altar on the top lane for 84OF just getting taken back, but those first occupation points are gone. TR did get those points, so we do have a Nebu garrison there as well, which is going to likely be switched here, but losing their Sky Altar on the bottom lane to TR right before the mid fight is going to be a problem that they're going to have to deal with. Having that Shrine of War or Shrine of Life on the bottom lane still, although it looks like it's going to get swarmed down finally, not probably going to offset the loss of not only those first occupation score points on the top lane Desert Altar, but also currently not gaining any points from their Sky Altar on the bottom lane. And it looks like it's going to be held there at least for a little bit as well. 30 seconds until it starts ticking points for TR. So that's looking this is a very strong start for TR. I think this went as well as they probably could have hoped for, just simply because they got the first occupation score points on the Desert Altar from 84OF. They're harassing the outside lanes. All these marches heading to retake the Sky Altar are not heading to the middle, which is exactly what they want. They want to be able to have their cake and eat it too, grab the first occupation score points and win that first arc.
Yeah, I mean, the aggression here for TR on structures feel like is unusually high in this particular matchup. We'll have to see if they play for middle, because, yeah, here you can see it's hard to take all the structures and be in time for the mid fight.
Yes.
So 3 minutes till the mid fight starts. And, I mean, there are 7 marches here, a few more on their way.
They're working on it.
84F is kind of chilling like, hello, Ark fight, we're ready. Where are you? They're moving all the way up. I mean, they're getting ready to break early here on this fight. You can see this one player is kind of like, hey guys, come on, let's go. Why are you waiting back there?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at you got the first occupation points at 400 for the shrines. I'm just trying to think which would be better, taking 2 shrines at the beginning or 1 Desert Altar, and ultimately 50 points are in favor of the 2 shrines. So maybe, I was wondering why the score was still so close, because having that extra 750 should have really kind of vaulted TR to have almost a 2-to-1 score favor. But that's not. It's only a 700-point game, 300-point game, in favor of TR right now. This middle fight being a 3,000-point arc, while it is the lowest point arc in the match, it's still 3,000 points. And this would definitely vault 84OF into the lead if they're able to secure it. Both teams having all of their structures right now on the side that they're supposed to be on. 84OF trying to take the Desert Altar on the bottom lane with an unsupported rally. That could go either way. There's an Ethelfled trying to swarm down an Attila Nevsky. That's not going to work out very well. And this Jadwiga is very low, although I do see marches coming in from the right from Moonbiter, Shazel, and Teddy Q7 from the bottom as well, coming to reinforce. That likely will stay red. Conversely, on the top, we do have a heavy swarm on the Desert Altar. Looks like TR is going heavy for the structures still, Chisco. I don't think they're going to be going after this arc very much at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, TR is really good at winning mid fights, so
they are.
I feel like this looks like they must have made a call to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're still going for the mid, but this many marches on an altar, that's a lot of pressure on the Desert Altar when everybody's supposed to be in the middle.
It is. That's a big commitment of marches too, considering. But also you have to think about it. There's really, if you think about it, for the mid fight, there's two fights. You have the initial breakout fight whenever the arc spawns, which, speaking of which, happens in 40 seconds. But then you have the after spawns. So the arc spawns, you have, in this case, 84OF likely pulling it back towards their side. Well, TR's already kind of up there. They're going to take this Desert Altar here in just a moment on the top lane away from 84OF. That'll make that red. They're likely, and as soon as I said likely, there's a bunch of marches around the Sky Altar on the bottom lane as well, looking to harass that Jadwiga garrison and that Sky Altar. Hard push again being used by TR, really focusing, showcasing
that's the
structure game, right?
Yeah,
right?
Hard push is the real tell. Like, hey, we're going structures.
Yeah.
You don't use hard push. And you saw the opposing team used war drums. Technically, 84OF is actually up on ability points by 1 because they used only war drums as far as I could tell, which is a 2-point ability, and TR used a 3-point ability. So I feel like if there was a little bit of a bait going on in mid, it wasn't enough to convince 84OF that TR was actually trying for the arc.
Yeah, I don't think they were convinced at all, but I think that at that point in TR's favor, 84OF had already kind of committed. Like, they were already all in with their structured troops. I mean, there was an unsupported Boudica Henry rally that took the Shrine of Life on the top lane, which is currently red now instead of blue, on the 84OF side. That was unsupported and just the rally beat the garrison, basically, is what happened. There was no swarm, there was no anti-swarm, there was no defending Martin. I mean, there was nothing. It was just rally against garrison. So they sent everything into the middle, whereas TR, again, has been able to rally all the structures, take 2-3 structures away. Sky Altar is now in red. The Desert Altar on the top lane was red, now blue, but it's still not ticking points.
I feel like you got to take more if you're going building game. I don't know if one altar and one shrine is enough. You got to really hold those for a long time to offset an arc worth of points. So we're going to see if this ends up playing out favorably, but I would say so far, like, probably not, honestly. I mean, that arc is cruising on by. CC's got his running shoes on, and he's making his way back toward the obelisk. There is one march that might go to contest this arc, but okay, one march becomes 3. Zero Demon sees the arc, might try to creep his way over. Oh my gosh, double C captain in the Desert Altar. There we go. Jan is now captain. Okay. Yeah, I think he is, pun intended, zeroing in on the arc here. I don't know how relevant that is, though. Like, okay, so what happens here? He knocks the arc down, and then
this is not a relevant
somebody
play.
else picks it up.
Yeah.
In a worst case, he picks it up, and then that would actually reset the timer of the arc. For those that don't know, there is a timer in the upper left. You can see it on the screen here. I've got my mouse hovering over that, so you can get a better look at that. That timer is the remaining time for the team whose color is represented to actually capture the arc. Now it's neutral, but blue has 15 minutes to score this arc before it goes back to the middle. Now, if someone from red picks up this arc, then it will reset that timer to 15 minutes. So you got to be really careful about picking up the arc. And you can see he isn't even trying to pick it up here, which I think is smart, because I don't think they want to reset that timer. Oh, here comes somebody, Speedy. So is he actually going to pick up the arc here? Pooh goes for the arc.
He's targeted it. That's what he targeted. There it is.
He is targeting it.
I'd let him pick it up. I wouldn't even.
Yeah, if you're in blue, you should just let him pick it up. I think this is a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, he figured it out.
Oh, there you go.
He backed off.
Like,
probably his team was kind of like yelling at him to not do that, because
stop doing that.
That's a very common mistake made where someone from your team picks up the arc. And the reason you don't want to do that, chat, just to bring everybody speed here, is that you want to potentially have a 3-arc game, and the enemy can control if it's going to be a 2-arc game if you pick up the arc on their side like that. So I think it was smart, to say the least, to not pick up that arc in that circumstance. Sky Altar under a huge amount of pressure here. Big Swarm rallies in. It's got an Attila Nevsky. And, you know, I'm an outspoken advocate against this particular rally in KVK, but I actually think it has some use in Ark of Osiris, Drago. And I think Anti-Swarm holds an interesting role in Ark of Osiris, because you can't just pop right back out of your city next to the flag in Ark of Osiris, right? Like, if you take a bunch of damage swarming a rally, like, it's actually a problem. It's a logistics issue in Ark, where now you don't have a lot of troops here, and boom. And this looks really clean in favor of 84F, don't you think?
It does. Those two, that Sky Altar getting taken looked very clean, but conversely, again, TR has moved all of their forces over to the Desert Altar to defend. They've had that for at least 2 minutes, considering it's already ticking points. We have a 2,000-point game right now with 3,000 points being held in the pocket of 84OF. So really, it's a 1,000-point game at the moment in favor of the blue team, but TR continuing to hold extra structures. I counted about a minute where TR had about a 600 point per minute advantage. They've consistently held about a 300 point per minute advantage for the last 10 minutes. So, I mean, I think TR doing everything they can to offset what looks to be about a 800 to 1,000 point lead for 84OF, but that's going to quickly get gobbled up by the point per minute game, structure game, ultimately, that TR is deploying, and they're doing a great job at it. I think they're disrupting points, they're holding structures. That Sky Altar has been red for at least 5 minutes, and it will look like go down at some point here with the heavy swarm from 84OF on the bottom lane. But ultimately, again, I think the damage has been done on that Sky Altar too, and with 9 minutes 40 seconds until this arc likely gets captured, they're going to hold as much as possible to reset, get their structures back. I think TR ultimately is in the driver's seat right now. 2,300, 2,400 point game in favor of TR right now, but ultimately 500, 600 point game for 84OF currently.
Yeah, I mean, I I feel like so far this opening's looking really good for 84OF, honestly. I feel like as they went for the buildings here, TR must have wanted to accomplish more. And look, I know I'm in the same kingdom as these guys, but I don't actually know what their strategy is or what they wanted to do here. But just looking at the way they played it, like I think they had to have been hoping for more when they went for buildings instead of Ark. And I feel like it's just, you really need, maybe this is an obvious thing to say, you really need at least an Ark's worth of points from buildings to have made that worthwhile. And I don't think they got that.
Astute observation.
Yeah, thank you. Captain Obvious at the helm today. I just don't think they got the sort of points that they really needed. Now they're not far off.
Yeah.
I don't think they were far off, but I do think it's shy of probably where they would have wanted to be for a break even. So it'll be interesting to see what they sort of try next. Now they're down 3 altars here, so 84OF doing a really good job, and they've held this altar for a while. They're getting points, and they even have a Xeno downfield, which is a nice pickup here. Although, Xeno YSS is not the garrison people typically run. That's mostly because of the march speed. Infantry are just so damn slow to get wherever you want to get. That said, the healing on Xeno is so good in this particular situation where it's going to be really hard to get troops down here, so the amount that Xeno can stall is quite nice. And there's hard push, by the way, being activated for 84OF. So if you thought the building game was going to simmer down before perhaps they capture the Ark, think again. This is going to go on for a while.
Curious why Easy Company is sitting over here with his almost dead Guan, a top lane obelisk of 84OF. It's just sitting there. Very interesting. Huh. Maybe I'm glitched. I'm not. Nope. There it is. Okay.
No,
he just wanted to get his troops back, I guess, but he could have tapped any of the cities to make that happen.
Was it empty? He could have took it potentially.
I was going to say he might have been able to tap it, but I'm not quite sure what just happened there. But anyway,
there might have been some troops
getting
in
his
there.
Troops back right now, at least. That Sky Altar on the top lane does go down in favor of TR again. Finally, after a good swarm and rally. Speaking of rally, Shrine of Life on the top lane being rallied by TR. Incoming rally. Looks like that Boudica Henry still trying to do some work up there, although I think with the amount of troops of 84OF sitting there now, that can be swarmed down relatively easily without much ill effect for the blue team. We do have still 6 minutes, 45 seconds until the Ark respawns, which means, again, 5-6 minutes is likely when that Ark is going to be captured by the blue team.
It's actually 6 minutes. Sorry to correct. 6 minutes till the Ark drops. They haven't even scored it yet, Drago.
That's what I'm saying. Respawns as in goes back to nothing. Sorry, maybe a better word could have been used there by me.
Got it.
But it is looking primarily red right now on the map. All three of the 4 altars in red currently. Again, whether it be a point disruption or a point generation strategy, it is working. Now, how much of it's working, we're going to have to kind of wait and see as we continue this 35 minutes left on the match before we see ultimately who's going to be the victor. But right now, 2,500 points in favor of TR. We do have, again, about 5 minutes until this Ark captures. And if there's a 60 point per minute advantage right now, so 5 of those minutes, that's 300 points. Maybe it gets better, maybe it gets worse, but that could relatively be your 3,000 points regenerated from losing that first Ark of Osiris, and it'll basically be a knotted match. And none of this mattered going into the second Ark spawn.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of structures changing hands here, which is it feels unusual to me. I mean, there's so much aggression on the opposing side that often they're losing their own side. This applies for both teams, right, with their altars. So the only altar that seems to be kind of consistently held, weirdly enough, is the Sky Altar all the way on the far side here.
Yeah, I mean, all 4 altars have been under heavy duress. I think all of them have had at least one change throughout this match. I think you're right, though. That top lane Sky Altar probably the least dropped of all of them. But right now, both Sky Altars are in favor of TR, and both Desert Altars are in favor of 84OF, which is a little bit of a weird scenario, right?
It's really weird.
But again, I'm interested to see when they capture this Ark. 84OF has 5 minutes until this thing goes back to 0. And they don't get any points, so they're going to be capturing it fairly soon. But do they capture it now? Do they capture it in 4 minutes? I think that's going to dictate the match, and I think that's why they're holding it, right? They want to be able to really kind of dictate how the pace of this match goes, with this next mid-fight really being a huge deciding factor, I think, on who wins this game.
Here's my thought, Drago. I think if you feel like you can overpower the other team in the middle,
you just keep capturing them.
You should probably be focused on arcs. So it's really interesting that TR went this route of going for buildings, because I generally think of TR as a team that's strong in the middle. And I don't know if the folks in TR had looked at the roster of 84OF and they were like, man, I don't know that we can take these guys in the middle, and that's why they went buildings, or what the calculus was there. But I feel like, looking at how this game is going, if we're assessing, like, what do we do next, it might be time to fall back on the tried and true run arcs strategy. And I think if you're in TR's shoes and you get the second arc, you might be able to control the timing to make sure there's a third arc. But that window is like closing pretty rapidly, right? Like when they score this arc, it's 3 more minutes off the clock. So there's like 30 minutes left in the game. Plus, you got to factor in the time for the arc to spawn, the time to run at places, the battling that takes place. I mean, there's still time for 3 arcs in this game, but
it would have to be very quick.
Yeah, if 84OF gets this next arc, there will not be a third arc, I suspect.
Yeah, I would agree.
I guess it'll depend on the scoreboard, but
I'm thinking this is going to be a 2-arc game. I think you're right. And, I'm looking at the structure game of both sides. 84OF doing a fantastic job of doing the same thing that TR's doing, is flipping all these buildings so that generating points is very difficult. I will say TR, I think, has done it better, since they do have a 2,500 point lead at the moment. That's where they've gotten those 2,500 points, is winning more on the structure game than on the arc game. But right now, 84OF has a points per minute advantage, 120 points per minute in favor of 84OF. This will likely start to even out as these other buildings on the red side start to solidify and lock in. But I will say, too, one thing I wanted to point out, the outpost game. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of outpost swapping. TR starting to get into that business. They do have 2 of the 3 84OF outposts in favor of TR right now. And there was earlier a fight between a Xeno YSS and an Ethelfled in an outpost that you generally don't see too much of. It was an Ethelfled Trajan, by the way. TR now trying to, again, just harass as much as possible. You got Pooh here running around with his Belisarius, and Lazy Abo with his Ethelfled. Held that outpost for quite some time. A few points here and there will make a big difference, guys. 2,400 points, 2,500 point lead right now for TR. But again, 1 minute 42 seconds. Chiscool. They're going to capture it right now. I see the arc carrier moving at this moment. Is that going to be the capture?
They're awake.
Come on.
They know they need to do something.
Just drag it down into special one and start doing stuff.
I like where they're holding the arc, by the way. This is pretty smart. Often you see teams hold the arc next to the obelisk. This is a disaster of an error. It opens you up to having the enemy kill your carrier and score the arc at your own obelisk. Remember, everybody, you can score in your own city. So being next to a city that's far away from the enemy's spawn point is exactly where you want to be. So this is a good place to hold the arc here. And we'll watch the carrier for just a second, because they should score this arc already, right? Here's a little bit of a rundown on the Shrine of Life, probably to reset those marches. Carrier's still chilling.
I'm risky.
I mean, they're milking every second off of that arc.
Yeah.
I always worry about that. Like I don't think I've ever actually disconnected in the middle of a match personally. But, like I just worry. You're the carrier. You're holding it.
Could you
like,
imagine?
I don't know.
My goodness.
Accidentally, the game. You force quit, or who knows what happens. IRL, something happens, and you don't score the arc. I don't know, man. I don't like to cut it close.
Power outage.
But
there it goes.
There it is. All right.
So everything's right with the world now. 500 point lead.
It just piques my anxiety. Okay, so
OF.
I can relax now that they have actually scored their arc.
The blood pressure does go up when you're sitting there staring at double-digit seconds on being left for this arc being reset completely. So that's good for 84OF. They do have a 500 point, 600 point lead now. So that's good for them. TR looking to reset here for the middle here in about 3 minutes, I would say. They are really looking tough here, trying to hold the Sky Altar on the top lane against 84OF's heavy assault with Rally and Swarm here. That's going to look like maybe it could go either way. Both teams having a lot of reinforcements from both sides. We do have oh, that's weird. An Amonitory Artemisia Rally on the bottom lane. Shrine of Life against a Xeno YSS.
Right, you have my attention.
That's a little weird.
Here's what I think happened, okay? They got their Garrison Captain gear suited up, Drago.
Yep.
They're just
wanna
going to run
switch.
it as the
Can't switch
rally
it.
and
Yep.
hope to catch them with no troops in there, but
It's
there's
looking
troops in there,
okay.
so it didn't work.
Yeah, it's looking okay-ish, but really not. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of...
it's gonna go bad. Is basically what I'm trying to get to. So.
It's like not too bad, but didn't work.
TR
It's a
heavy
cool
pushing
idea.
the Sky Altar. On
See-
the
I see
bottom
what you
lane
did there.
too. Yep. And anytime you see something special, you know you gotta take a peek at it.
Yeah, you got to call it out, man. That's what the people are here to see.
That's right. I do see 84 OF really starting to go to the middle as well. I do see an Ethelfled and a Boudica starting to head towards the Temple of Osiris. 6.5 minutes in. That's very early. Although I do see an Ethelfled from Vickers on the TR side doing exactly the same thing. So talking about mirror images, we've got both teams sending just a couple of buff troops to the middle, getting prepared for what will likely be the deciding arc inside of this matchup. 28 minutes left, 6 minutes until it spawns. It'll likely be a 10 to 15 minute fight, if nothing else. And then you also have the holding time. So I think that this will likely be the last arc. If I'm making a prediction, but we also have heavy assault coming from 84OF against the TR buildings right before this arc starts to generate. So this could be something that could help 84OF solidify the positioning that they had last arc, which really led them to basically go free and clear with that arc back to their own side, controlling the rest of the timing on the next arc coming out. So this is going to look interesting for me. You see Pooh coming in from the top as well with his Nebu, and a big set of marches coming from the top lane now for TR into the middle. Let's see what this fight is going to look like, Chisco. Who do you think is going to win?
You know, it's hard to say. There's just a lot of commitment to buildings right now that cannot make it to middle in time based on their commitment to these buildings. So I think this mid fight is going to be really fun to watch, but not like as many players as you might expect for like, hey, this is it. We really need this arc for both teams. Because just so much commitment has to continue to be made to these buildings. So as long as like all these players are pushing buildings on both sides here, I think this mid fight's going to be not the biggest in terms of the number of players, but in terms of the importance. I mean, this is really critical, and I've got to hand it to 84 here. I mean, they're in position. They see that this arc really matters, and if they get this arc, they control the rest of the game. They know it. So TR running 3 altars right now is strong. However, I think the place that's more important to be is middle, and a lot of that aggression on buildings. I mean, you're just not going to be able to reset your marches and get to the middle on time for this arc. So this is going to be fun to watch.
I think TR is kind of keeping up with the middle shift of 84OF. I think relatively the same number of troops on both sides. But again, because 84OF got there a little sooner, they have the favorable position in front of the temple with 4 minutes until this arc spawns. So I think we're going to see a major fight break out towards the bottom right side of this Temple of Osiris lane where the arc spawns. I do see 3 altars now blue instead of red, which they were just 30 seconds ago. So again, structures are still flipping on both sides. I think that ultimately, though, this positioning for 84OF is going to be very favorable for them. I do see some rallies still going out as well on the TR side too. So we've got a couple things happening, but I think ultimately TR will go all in on this middle fight. I think they're going to definitely be dropping your standard at least to the death, and maybe either War Drums and Mystical Formation, or they may deploy a Heaven's Grace here with the fight to the death to get maximum damage out for the fight to the death alliance skill.
Yeah, you know, I was highlighting on screen a lot of scouts running back and forth, by the way. So both teams scouting each other's side to see, hey, what's vulnerable? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, both teams really are playing heads up here. If you leave a structure even somewhat empty, they're gonna go for it. And that's what all that scouting kind of signified to me anyways. Even, look at this scout running through the middle here. So there's scouts going kind of all over the place to see as much information as we can gather about the enemy's disposition leading up to this fight. And I think still that if I were in the shoes of either of these teams, man, I'd be screaming get to middle. I mean, you know, not literally screaming, but
maybe a little screaming.
Maybe a little screaming, Drago.
Cover your mouth when you do it, maybe. But ultimately, there would be some screaming. I think TR might have the actual numbers advantage here, starting to inch up towards the 84OF ball here. If I zoom out, let me see how dense. It's kind of
hard to
dense.
say.
Yeah,
I think 84OF has a lot of people in there, man. I think it's pretty deceptive how many people they have. I actually, given what we saw earlier, would have given them a numbers advantage. In particular, look at this, man. These guys are like touching noses.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, they could do a Monty Python slap fight here at the beginning. They're so close to each other. Already buffing. Here's Bunny
There's
Bot,
Mystical
Formation, and
there's War Drums.
Drum. Okay, well, that's War Drum from 84 and War Drum from TR. So we're starting to see both pop up. So
this
both
is probably
it
to the death situation. If I could ever think of
once
one.
everybody starts engaging, there it is.
84OF pops to the death. Mirror play made by TR. This is the arc you want to see.
Each side.
This is the knockdown, drag out fight. Grab this arc, take the W, Ark of Osiris. Mid-fight that we're here for. Ooh. There's even a Yadviga somehow in the middle coming to play for this arc brawl, okay?
I mean, it's
this
a mobility
is the all-in play.
Could be your arc carrier.
One of them even had time to drop an emoji in the middle. Yeah, kind of unusual. I mean, it's hard to keep track of where your marches are, to be perfectly honest. Right? So somebody was so damn confident, they're not only like, hey, I know what's up. I got control of my marches. They're dropping emojis.
I see a lot more blue marches going back with sad faces versus red. It's looking like TR is winning this mid-fight, Chisco. I think that we do see some more reinforcements coming in from both sides. This is not going to be a quick fight, but I do say that TR does have the advantage right now from a kills standpoint, eliminating their enemies off the field. But more and more are coming for 84OF. This may be something that lasts for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I mean, based on the sad face quantities, it does sure look pretty aggressively in favor of TR. Yeah. And now you can see the numbers on screen looking pretty aggressively in favor of TR. Even a Julius Caesar in the middle here.
Why not?
So, I mean, when they said everybody to middle, I guess they really meant, like, bring me your gold key commanders. I'll take whatever I can get to the mid fight.
By the way, looking at the score, I haven't checked it since we last saw the arc captured. It's now a 600-point lead for TR. So really, 84OF needs this arc. Like they need this, or they're going to lose it from a structure and an arc standpoint, and maybe even provisioning too. If they can't get this, they need to reshift to structure game really quickly, or start to reshift towards coming around the outside edges of this middle lane to try and secure the arc in a different way. We have 21 minutes left, so it's not going to be a delay game. This is going to definitely have to be we need to make sure we get the arc, or let them have it. It's 14 and a half minutes on the timer, 21 minutes on the match. They could technically make this a 2-arc game.
This could still be a 2-arc game, Drago.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It takes time to score this. And then you got 8.5 minutes before the next arc spawns. I mean, this carrier needs to score the arc if they want a third arc, the second that they can get to a building.
Do they need it?
And so the thing you got to look for in what just happened, okay, is that because all these blue marches just got sad face big time, they now have a fast entry back into this fight with full marches. So if they manage their logistics, this arc carrier can get cut off. We've seen it many times before. That you win the arc, but still lose the capture. And I know this all too well from personal experience, having been on the receiving end and the delivering end of that pain. So this carrier is not home free.
They're still going
and I honestly think not enough people here stayed behind. I feel like TR is looking very exposed right now. And I don't know if they see what I see. But what I see is a bunch of marches that are going to go nearly uncontested. Okay, couple people turning around going, hello, the carrier is still vulnerable. And this happens all the time, man. This arc is left very vulnerable. I would rate this as extremely vulnerable. This is when I would be screaming in voice. Not that I scream in voice, I swear. But this is when I would be, because this arc is looking really, really unnecessarily dicey.
Big push coming from 84 on the bottom lane if you want to hover over to the left.
This is exactly what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
So I mean, 60 seconds ago, Drago, I said this could happen, and here we are. I didn't want to be right about this.
This was one of the plays, right? We either said let them grab it and go heavy structure, or go around the bottom edge or the top edge, whichever direction they went, and hard push everything in, capture the desert altar, and have a new position to grab that arc with. They chose violence versus pacifism, so they went ahead and went bottom lane all in, everybody coming in from the middle, from the top lane, and then bottom lane, getting all the bottom lane folks coming in for the blue team. This is definitely an exposed arc, and one that could actually go the opposite way. Like you said, those blue marches are full, those red marches are not. So this could definitely be a second win, a first win for the second arc in favor of 84OF.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to graph my level of concern here, right? Every second that this arc sits here, my level of concern is actually rising, and we'll hit a point where the red marches actually can refresh to the arc.
Yeah.
And then my level of concern will sink again.
Correct.
But my level of concern is still rising, okay? Because
There's
you
a
don't
window.
see any red marches refreshing to this area because they haven't yet, right? They're just getting sad-faced. One or two are coming back. So, I mean, the red marches could get cleared out of here, and then blue starts running the arc, which is that's happening. It's happening right now. So this is a really dicey situation that I just don't see enough support coming here for this arc. So panic engaged for Chisgul.
Yeah, no, I can tell. That being said, Desert Altar now in blue. So 84OF has the structure that is closest to the arc and has marches around the arc and currently has the arc, and it is moving.
They're taking it to the desert altar, bro. I mean,
now,
this.
And they have a Xeno in the garrison too, so they can defend this with a proper garrison.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get this arc. 84OF gets the arc, Chisgul. Still sitting there, immediately drops. More and more blue marches coming to the field. More are streaming from the bottom lane obelisk on the 84OF side. More coming through the middle as well from the top lane. TR recognizing the severity of the issue. More and more marches from the top lane coming to the bottom lane across the outpost area. TR looking to try and hold this as best they can. It is starting to get more red here.
Yeah, this is where my level of concern actually starts to sink, and you can hear I'm mellowing out, right?
Yeah.
So that we reach that point where, like, if they were going to score this for 84OF, they really needed to do it already. Like they've passed their peak strength here, and now the refreshing marches from TR are able to get control of this situation and get back into the driver's seat. So, you know, depending on which side you're on, crisis or opportunity was averted there, and now there goes the carrier, double C, Gold Key Commander. Everybody, still relevant. It's 2022, 4 years later. We're using Gold Key Commanders,
Used
baby.
to be on the wheel, by the way.
The Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, at the very beginning of the game.
I don't remember that.
Oh, come on, you remember that?
I don't think I do, honestly.
It was on the rotation whenever there was a Universal sculpture wheel.
Oh my god.
And a Richard wheel. And
I remember Richard wheels.
Yeah, well, that's still a
thing. I
thing.
remember Esong wheels.
That's still a thing. But before that, you had a double C wheel. I know.
So does he just score this? What's he do?
He does not score this right now. No. He waits another, I'd say 6-7 minutes.
Yeah. So I guess
he's got it pretty much secured at this point.
That arc was close enough of an experience that TR is saying, all right, we'll just make sure we win by at least 1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A W is a W is a W. That being said, there is a 300-point lead for 84OF currently. They did flip the script a little bit on the structures because TR had to overly commit to the defense of that arc carry when they had basically done the opposite and not committed enough the first time. So that did give 84OF the ability to basically do a 600-700 point swing on the total number of points for each side. But ultimately, again, 3,500 points in favor of TR in the pocket of Mr. Pooh, with the double C led march there being a primary arc carrier. Looks like 84OF still really heavily contesting this desert altar on the bottom lane. There's 15 minutes left in this match, and 3,500 points can be made up.
Yeah.
If it's done properly. And there's 3 altars in favor of the blue team.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. 15 minutes, 3 altars, you're good, baby.
Yeah.
So I think TR still has to sweat here, and they got to get back to their structure game. Maybe they feel like they're still kind of resetting back to a stable structure game, but you know, I think if we look over here at the points per minute, like 590 to 260, like if they can keep up that differential for one team, one fight,
time.
like they're cruising to a W here. So I think this game is far from over. And you know, one thing I want to key into now all 4 altars. I mean, this is an absolute disaster for TR now. I mean, that escalated from...
Oh, no, it was on time.
That escalated from, like, get stable to you're in crisis really quickly. Now, one altar back, but this is again, like, a kind of disastrous scenario. 590 to 230 still. So, if OF can maintain that gap in points per minute, it's going to be an issue, especially if they can continue to sort of widen the points per minute. And you can see they've even got some backfield disruption going on here. They got Marches chilling by this outpost. Oh,
Juan putting in some solid work on that garrison on the bottom lane desert altar, doing whatever it can to hold that on the blue team. There's a lot of blue marches around here to continue to reinforce. Guan not as bad as one would think, especially if you have, you know, somebody like Scipio as a secondary there. Guan Scipio.
Skippy's a premium garrison captain these days. What are you talking about? That's half a premium garrison combo, it seems.
Right. So, I mean, they're doing okay. Now it's a Boudica primary in the garrison, which is an interesting choice. A little more squishy than I would think Guan Scipio would be. But tons of 84 OF around this structure. They're going to be looking to hold this. I'm clicking all the marches coming in here, trying to find a Xeno or something that's a proper garrison. There's one. Yes, looks like from Elaspt, which is elapsed spelled incorrectly, but Elaspt, Elisped, or however you want to pronounce it. Xeno coming in hot on that desert altar from the caravan level 3 right there. It's almost going to be arriving, and hopefully for 84 OF they can hold that a little longer. 10 seconds until that starts ticking points in favor of 84 OF. It's a 1,000-point match in favor of the blue team right now, with 150 points currently extra per minute for the blue team as well. There is the capture for 84 OF. There's the switch to Xeno. That's going to help them out tremendously. TR trying to do the exact same thing on the Sky Altar bottom lane in favor of the red team, trying to capture as many points back as possible to make that 3,500-point arc really punch whenever they put it in the structure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nail biter, man. And it's another 12 minutes of nail biting. Like, you're not going to have nails left after this one.
I mean, what nails?
Yeah, okay. I mean, this is pretty dicey here. You know, and one thing I wanted to talk about, Drago, is we look at the mid-fight that just happened here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that more and more frequently we're seeing, at least in my opinion, that arcs cannot be escorted home safely? Like more than any other season, it seems like the carrier is moving, they got the arc, they're running it back, and boom, they get intercepted on the way. Have you noticed this? I feel like it's more than any other season.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen that. And I think, again, like I was saying earlier, there's really 2 fights in the middle if you want there to be. So you have that first punch fight in the middle when TR definitely dominated that fight. I mean, it was a curb stomping. But then that second battle that happened towards the bottom left of the lane, that's that second chance where, like you said, your blood pressure was rising. There's like a 4 or 5 minute window there where you can counter punch that first mid fight and grab it back. And if you can get the desert altar there, or at least start to pull it back to the middle or more towards your side, insatiable desire being popped for both teams. That's scripted, right? At 10 minutes before the match finishes. There's 2 fights there, and that's because teams have really started to key in on the fact that you can counterpunch that first fight if you want to. And again, the 2 scenarios are, do you go structure game or do you try and capture it with that second fight? And again, 84OF decided to go try and capture it for that second fight. Didn't work, but at least delayed to the point where this is a guaranteed 2 arc fight. And really, I mean, we're looking at 1,200 point favor right now for 84OF. If provisions are looking very favorable for them. And again, they can continue to take these structures away from TR. There's 10 minutes left in this fight. Average 200 points per minute favor for rest of the fight. That's 2,000 points. That's a victory.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, TR is currently winning the points per minute side of things. And that gap is starting to widen a little bit, but I still really feel like 84OF can win this game with the right punch on structures here. And they've shown they can do it. So I think if you're in TR's shoes, you got to be really afraid of losing structures, but you can't be so afraid that you stop, trying to take 84 structures. And if you're in 84's shoes, I mean, you got to just run the good assaults you've been running on structures and hope to hold them for long enough here, and you can win this game. I do wonder about the quantity of provisioning, honestly. Like, how much provisioning will there be for both of these teams?
Well, 1,700 now. I'm looking around. I'm not seeing too much. I do see some, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 provision marches. Both teams, like we said earlier, are using Insatiable Desire right now for their respective teams. So that's going to increase the speed at which they gather these provisions. I'm not seeing too many on the red team either, though, although I don't see many provision caravans on the red side top lane. So maybe they've already provisioned
That might
them.
be a signal.
Yeah.
They're already provisioning their hearts out.
They've already captured them all. So this could be, relatively futile for 84OF if the provisioning goes in favor of TR. TR having now the advantage, capturing that Ark 8 minutes until the next spawn, 8 minutes on the match. That means no more Arks in this match. And they do have a 2,000 point lead right now with 7 minutes, 45 seconds left in the match. TR in control, but do they keep control for these next 7.5 minutes?
Provisioning brings an element of excitement to the final score. You really just don't know what's going to happen here, because if you've been provisioning all match and not been returning your provisions, there are thousands of points in the pocket just waiting to be cashed in here. So this score could flip around really quickly. So if you're enjoying the stream, do us a favor and drop some hype on here. Throw a few likes. I know each of you can only throw one, but together, let's throw some likes
just
on
don't
this stream
twice.
if you're having a good time. Yeah, don't push the like button more than once, all right? Don't undo your like. That's no bueno. All right? Throw some likes on the stream. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. For Rise of Kingdoms, official casting and coverage of Osiris League Season 6. This is the first of many games. Of course, casting will continue at 15 UTC for the next round of battles, and there you'll have the esteemed and illustrious Bulbaritos and Redline casting, and I believe Redline is actually playing in this match, so maybe he'll give some commentary on sort of how he felt during the match. But the match isn't over yet, so let's key in here to more of the building swapping that's going on here. Henry Captain still at this desert altar. That's getting dangerously low.
That's going to flop.
Not a lot of marches nearby. Yep. Flips red. Simultaneously, another building flips blue. I mean, it's hard to keep up with the buildings as they're switching hands here, which is why I keep looking at the points per minute to get a really good sense of what's happening. 300 points per minute. Oh, okay, it changed already. That went down to 200, up to 400. I can't keep up, man.
You're never going to be able to do that. I wish there was a little bit. Speaking of wishes for this mode, right? I wish there was a more real-time meter on the screen so we don't have to click the actual score every time. That would be nice information to have, not only for us as viewers and commentators, but also for
I agree.
People playing.
Like
definitely use that.
The thing up top showing the types of buildings under control by each side is pretty good. But it would be nice to have some points per minute up on here, baby. Ooh, be a nice display. It'd be so valuable information to just have that at a glance.
It's a 1,700 point game right now in favor of TR. Provisions could mean everything. 200 and some change. Now it's 90 points per minute in favor of 84OF with 5 minutes to go. That's less than what they need if they keep that points per minute difference, but now it's 120. Now it's a 30 points per minute favor for TR. I mean, like you said, there's no way to keep up with that. 3 altars in favor of the red team right now. Really, it's going to come down to provisioning, I think. Is there 1,700 points to be found in delta between the two provisioning teams? We're going to have to see.
It keeps changing so fast, I can't keep up.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's now a 2,000 point game. Somebody brought home provisions.
Yep. And it had
somebody
to be the
brought home provisions there. I mean, they're bringing them home. I'm like, Irvin's baby. A lot of people going for provisions. So I think some of this is people just scooping up a point here or there, right? And some of it is people who have been provisioning the whole time.
Right.
It's a little tricky if you start sending out people to go provision here and there. Like, yeah, you get a few extra points, but your dedicated provisioners kind of like, hello, there's no caravans left. And those spawn in periodically. I forget what the exact interval is off the top of my head, but there's a cadence to when those drop back in there. They're not unlimited.
Double alliance skills being used on the bottom lane assault of the TR Desert Altar. Both teams using attack and defense respectively on each side, one on each side anyway, to assault this Desert Altar, looking to grab a few more extra points as less than 4 minutes remain in this really tight match. We have a 2,000 point favor in TR's favor here, 2,000 points favor in their favor. But again, provisioning looking to be very solid. For the first time this game, I'm seeing some TR outposts in blue, which is favorable to the 84OF squad, trying to get as many points eked out per minute as possible. Right now, they're up by 120 points per minute is the blue team. So that's going to be helpful in these final 3 minutes if they can maintain that plus out provision TR. But did TR provision enough? I'm thinking they may have.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, this is still anybody's game. Easily anybody's game. And this aggression that we see here on the altar, I mean, even though you can't start scoring points for yourself because it takes 3 minutes, or if you have a skill active, it could be lowered, right? But you probably aren't scoring points for yourself, but just disrupting the enemy's point flow is still valuable, right? It's a couple 100 points for every minute you can disrupt the enemy's flow here. In fact, we can just get a look at the building here. It's exactly 150 points per minute. So just being able to take this thing is pretty big.
Seeing TR kind of pull away a little bit here. We have an extra building in TR's favor, the Shrine of Life of the top lane. Taking their Desert Altar back as well was very helpful from a points per minute standpoint. It is a 2,200 point game, 2,150, with again a basically even points per minute game. And again, provisioning likely being the sole benefactor on trying to see who is going to win this match. It's so close, Jiskel. I think that really TR has done a great job of executing their strategy, but so is 84OF doing a very strong job on the structure game. I think TR just doing a little bit better, though.
Yeah, I mean, we said at the start that neither of us was particularly familiar with 84OF as a team, but they've pulled out a lot of wins up to this point, and it shows. I mean, they have really, really strong gameplay here, and there is still a chance that they give TR a run for the money. So we're all kind of waiting now to see what the provisions look like, because that determines who could win here. Now, I will say that if TR cashed in some of their provisions early, then maybe we could see a big chunk up in points here for 84OF. But TR's got a pretty solid lead. 2,000 point lead is pretty substantial. So provisions we know can upset that lead, but
I'm not seeing too many provisions coming back on the blue team side. It is a 2,000 point match now. A few were returned, but I'm looking at the TR side as well. I'm not really seeing too many either, to be honest with you. I see some still farming, but I don't see too many actually coming back. Only one on the bottom lane, two on the bottom lane. Excuse me.
It's time to run them home, right?
Yeah,
45
now's
seconds.
The time.
You don't get any points for provisioning if you don't run them home. So
yep. Here they come, though. 84OF with a big Joan of Arc march on the top lane and a good-sized Cleo march coming in, both on that top one.
There's your dedicated gatherers.
This is a 2,300 point match.
Look at those T5 Siege. That's a dedicated gatherer right there. Here we go. Boom. Oh, 1,000 point game.
1,200 point game.
Oh.
1,000 point game now.
Oh, my God.
In favor of TR. 10 seconds left.
Anybody else?
I don't see any provisions coming in. I think that might be it, Chiskel.
Look at this. Vickers down to the second.
Oh, my goodness.
Down to the second. Oh, last second score. Jeez.
Wow. 1,000 point win. Look at that.
All right. There it is. Two very strong teams here. Duking it out. MVP from 84OF.
Even.
Flower Keo. But the victors, TR match today. Could have gone either way, man. I feel like both these teams were really, really strong. This was really, really fun to watch. What stands out for you on the scoreboard?
I mean, the numbers being almost identical. That's what stands out for me.
Kidding.
I mean, really
jeez, you look down that list, they are nearly identical.
It's almost identical. Units healed for TR side massively larger than the 84OF side. That's the only real difference I'm seeing here. 500 points for the Arc score, 500 points for the occupation score. That's basically the match. TR doing just enough getting those few extra points in favor of their team to take the victory home.
You know, Drago, it turns out if you zero yourself basically every KVK, many KVKs in a row, it's really hard to play Ark League. It really is.
It is.
50 million units healed is a big deal. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of units healed. And it's really disruptive to your gameplay to have to be healing troops when you're like, I want to send my march. Oh my God, I got to heal. Yep. It's like a 20 to 30 second penalty every time you're trying to send marches out to actually go through that process of healing. You kind of got to manage that proactively. So
totally agree.
It is a good observation on your part that healing number is rather large. And I mean, the 1,000 point game, you can see it. 500 points in the Ark, 500 points in the occupation. Wow. Let's jump back to the caster's booth here and wrap up today's session. Man, what a game. And what a series of games happening this morning and also later today. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Redline and Bulba are going to be on the channel casting later today. And then every week through the finals, there's going to be some really awesome gameplay you're not going to want to miss out on. Drago, closing thoughts before we wrap up today's stream?
You know, I have to say that we chose the right match. So
True.
That was an amazing match to watch. I love the matches that go down to the final seconds. Does provisioning take it? Does the points per minute game take it on the structures? 500 point delta in the Ark score and the occupation score wins it for TR. What an amazing match to watch and cast. Looking at the other three matches that also happened today, 1021 Blackjack fighting no one, 74 NV not showing up. They must be in KVK.
They are in KVK. They're in KVK against 1960. So
there it is.
They've got their hands full, and that's probably the understatement of a lifetime.
Yeah. So that did dictate who won that matchup. So they are now eliminated 74 NV, choosing KVK over Osiris League, which is something that a lot of people, including myself, likely would do. TR again taking that victory. We have Navi taking a victory against 500F and JST doubling the score of 44S, the Solar family, taking the win there too. So big matches happened today, and I think we picked the right one. I'm excited to have casted it with you, Chisco. Thank you so much for having me as your co-host, and looking forward to seeing the next matches coming at 15 UTC with Bulba and Redline.
Yes, sir. The pleasure was all mine. And again, you had a good time. Throw a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you back here at 1450 UTC is when the cast will begin for more Ark of Osiris League in Season 6. Until then, you have fun smashing your enemies, and we'll see you later today.
See y'all.